Good morning, everybody. I think we should go ahead and get started. My name is Christina Talamantes. I am the Department of Counseling Student Development Specialist. I am here to assist students, prospective students, and current students. You will hear a lot from me when you're part of the program. I'd like to go over the people we have joining us from the department. I have first Dr. Claudia Interiano Shiverdecker, Dr. Jessica Lloyd Hazlitt, and we also have two student reps. One is Cody and the other is Mika. We will be answering questions, preferably at the end. We ask that you keep your audio muted and use the chat box available to ask your questions. We're going to go over some information on how to apply for the program, what is required, and then answer any questions you may have. So I'm going to go over the PowerPoint. You will be emailed the PowerPoint on Monday, and any documents that I pull up, you will get those in the email that you provided when you signed up to attend the open house. But this is our Department of Counseling faculty. Dr. Thelma Duffy is our department chair. And we don't have pictures for Dr. Herlihy, Dr. Leith, or Dr. Speedland yet, but this is who you will be taking classes with. The Department of Counseling, we do have 2 graduate certificates, bilingual counseling, which is open to both clinical mental health counseling and school counseling, and integrative behavioral health care, which is open to clinical mental health counseling. The master's degree, we have an MED in school counseling and an MS in clinical mental health counseling. Both, and the doctorate is a counselor education and supervision. All 3 are KCREP accredited. If you've never heard of KCREP, I highly encourage you to do your research if you're looking into different counseling programs. If you go to kcrep.org, that will tell you anything you need to know about KCREP accreditation and which institutions are accredited. I highly encourage you to do your research on that. Just in case some of you may have accidentally came into this room, or if you're interested in possibly joining another session. So what can you do with our degrees? The MS in clinical mental health counseling, most, if not all, people will go on to get their license to be a professional counselor, LPC. That is done after graduation. I'll go over that in a little bit in further detail. An MED in school counseling, that is to be certified in Texas as a school counselor in a K through 12 setting. And then the PhD in counselor education and supervision, you can either become a college professor or a supervisor. Most of our graduates do go on to be college professors. Some also, I mean, people do stay in the private sector without going into the college teaching route, and that's what you can do with it as well. So the MS in clinical mental health counseling, like I said before, it's if you want to become a counselor in all types of settings, substance abuse, marriage and family, children and adolescents. I mean, this is an umbrella that encompasses all counseling services. So sometimes people will contact me and say, you know, I want to become an LMFT. Well, even with an LPC, it is different, but it opens your clientele to where you can see a wide variety of clients, not just marriage and family. It is a 60-hour degree, and I will pull up the advising plan, which I will email you. I will email you on Monday the actual advising plan. So this is the courses that's required. These are your core classes here. One big part of the program is we do require 700 hours of practicum and internship. Practicum would be your first class, but you do have to take these prerequisites listed over here, and then 2 300-hour internships. Our practicum we do in-house in our Sarabia Family Counseling Center. That is a center that's located at the downtown campus in the Durango building on the 3rd floor. It's a counseling center that's open to the public to receive free counseling services. And all students going through the program will do their practicum in-house at the Sarabia Family Counseling Center. And then afterwards, you'll do a 300-hour internship after that. We do have an approved site list where students choose where to do their counseling for the internship. If you go to this website here, education.utsa.edu/counseling, that'll take you to the department. Oops, didn't do that. It'll take you to the department home page, just to kind of get an idea of where you can do your internship. If you go to the department homepage, you go to the right here, you want to click on helpful links for students under current students. Click on that link. And then under program forms, click on the affiliated site list for clinical mental health counseling. This is a list of approved sites that UTSA has agreed to allow our students to go and get their training. This list is about 12 pages, but this will kind of give you an idea of where you will do those 300 hours. Like I mentioned, most people do go on to get their LPC. We also do allow 9 hours of electives. So it's 60 hours with 3 electives. You have your choice to take those electives. Either if you want to do one of the certificates, you could do the bilingual counseling or the integrative behavioral health care. We also offer child and adolescent counseling, neurofeedback. If you wanted to get training in neurofeedback, you could do that. Also, we have a class that's that we offer it's been pretty consistent fall and spring with child abuse and domestic violence. I do give you a list of your electives every semester before registration opens. So you will know, like, if you're scheduled to do your electives, you can, just pay attention to my email, because I will outline what electives are being offered every semester before registration opens. So the MED in school counseling is for students who want to become a school counselor in a K through 12 setting. It is a 48-hour degree, no electives. Everything on the advising plan is required. It also requires 700 hours of practicum and internship. The 100 hours of practicum will be done in the Sarabia Family Counseling Center. But instead of 2 300-hour internships, it's 3 200-hour internships that you have to do over the fall and spring only. That is done in a school setting, in a K through 12 school setting. Because schools are only open during the day, we decided to make it 3 semesters instead of making you do 2 300 hours, because that could be a little challenging to meet those hours if we required 300. For this option, in order to become a certified school counselor in Texas, you must have a master's in school counseling and teach for 2 years in an accredited school in Texas. One thing about that, you don't have to have those 2 years of teaching to join the program, but you do need to obtain the teacher certification and the 2 years of teaching within 5 years of graduation. So you can come in without having even a teaching certificate, but you should be working towards that. That way, when you graduate, you're not in such a race to get the teacher certification and the 2 years. that would be my advice, but really it's, you know, if you want to do it like that, you could just understand that you only have 5 years from the time that you graduate to obtain that. And then you must pass a school counselor state exam in order to be a certified school counselor. So the requirements for admission into the Department of Counseling is we do look for 18 hours of coursework in either psychology, sociology, education, or any human development coursework. We're pretty liberal, and it's not just those disciplines that we accept. We do accept some criminal justice courses, we accept communication courses. It really is a wide variety of background coursework that we require. If you do not come from any of those disciplines and you have a question like, I don't know if I meet the criteria, you're more than welcome to email me and I can take a look at your transcripts to see exactly where you stand. But like I said, we really try to take a wide variety of background courses. For the clinical mental health counseling program, we do require a 3.0 in the last 60 graded hours for the program. So as long as you have a 3.0 in the last 60 hours, you're good. For the school counseling, we do accept probation status. So it's great if you have a 3.0 or more, but if you at least have a 2.7 in the last 60, you're good for admission. So this is, everything is done through the graduate school. You do go to their website to apply, not Texas, what is it, the undergrad. Make sure you just don't fill out any undergrad. You want to go to the graduate school's website to fill out the graduate school's application. We do require 3 applicant rating forms, and those are forms that you would give to recommenders to fill out. Now, I will say this, the online application, this is the actual form. So we ask your recommenders these 10 questions here. On the online application, you will come to a part where you can put in your recommender's email address, and the graduate school will email them this form to electronically fill out and send back. That is the quickest way to get this. Your recommenders do not have to write a letter. However, the way that the graduate school's application is set up, it's going to prompt them to provide a letter. They do not have to write a letter. If they want to, great. We will not accept a letter in lieu of this form. So just, you know, kind of keep that in mind and let them know. So if they want to upload a letter with this, that's fine. But if they don't, they should be able to bypass the letter part. If they can't, and they, you know, are super busy, they can't write a letter, they should be able just to even upload a blank page should be fine. I'm trying to work with the graduate school right now to get that taken care of, but unfortunately, I think it's prompting all of our recommenders to write letters. So blank pages are fine, but if they want to write a letter, that's fine too. Or you could print this. In the age of COVID, I don't know how, you know, that would work, and give it to them to handwrite and scan it and email it to us. That's fine too. There's no right or wrong way we want this. It can be electronic, it can be scanned to us, as long as we have 3 of them. Who you ask is really up to you. We don't have any stipulations on that. It doesn't have to be past professors. It doesn't have to be somebody within the profession, as long as it's not a family member and somebody who knows you well enough to answer these 10 questions about you. So each program does require 3 of them. In addition to that, we also need a 2-page narrative statement. The narrative statements do give you prompts, so it's 1 page for this prompt and the 2nd page for this prompt. A lot of times people will stress out and overthink this part. Please don't do that to yourself. Right now, our deadline is June 15th, so you have about 2 weeks. Don't overthink this. The other question I get is the style. The style is up to you. If you want to turn in a 2-page single space document, that's fine. Double space, that's fine too. That's really up to you. So you would just upload each page onto your application. And all official transcripts from every institution that you've attended. Now, right now, we are accepting unofficial transcripts due to COVID. So as long as you can get a hold of unofficial transcripts, that's perfect. But just know that you will have a future hold on your account, because eventually we will need official transcripts when we are back on campus. And, you know, unfortunately, I can't tell you when that'll be, but you can get admitted with unofficial transcripts, but eventually you will need to get those official transcripts in. A lot of institutions do have an electronic, they can submit them to us electronically. That's perfect. But I've been told that some institutions still mail them out. And if they're mailing them out, nobody is here on campus to open them to put them with your file. So if you can get a hold of unofficial ones, that would speed up your application. So some of you are, you know, here for the doctoral program requirements, or even if you're not, just to kind of put a bug in your ear, when you complete our graduate program, you can go on to apply for our doctoral program. Our doctoral program does require a master's in counseling with a minimum of 60 semester credit hours. A minimum GPA of a 3.0 in your master's level courses. We do require a portfolio, which, you know, we want to see your transcripts, 3 letters of recommendation, a personal statement, GRE scores not older than 5 years. I know for this fall, the graduate school has waived their GRE score requirement. However, we only admit once a year, and we've already admitted for this fall. So you still need GRE scores for next fall, because you're looking at the next term of admission for the doctoral program is fall 2021. We will need GRE scores. A documented work experience in a work environment where counseling was the primary emphasis, professional resume listing prior experience in the counseling field, and if selected, a successful completion of a finalist interview with the admissions committee. So that is what is required for the PhD in counselor education and supervision. Dr. Intediano, Shiverdecker, and Dr. Lloyd Haslett, would y'all like to go over the certificates?
I would be happy to talk about the Integrated Behavioral Health Care certificate. And so the Integrated Behavioral Health Care certificate is a bit of a tongue twister, but it's also referred to sometimes as the PITCH program. And for this certificate, it is 12 graduate hours. Those 12 hours can be part of your elective coursework. To be a part of the full certificate, you would take 2 didactic courses, Integrated Behavioral Health 1 and Integrated Behavioral Health 2, which are offered in summer and falls respectively, and then complete both of your internships in a primary care integrated health setting. The full Integrated Behavioral Health Certificate program is by application and acceptance only, and we typically hold information sessions and the application cycle in the spring. The didactic courses, so the Integrated Behavioral Health 1 and 2, are open to all students to take as electives, and so we hope that that is an option to expand your professional repertoire as well. The Integrated Behavioral Health Care Certificate is actually open to all students. We've expanded from clinical mental health to also include school counseling and PhD students. The degree plans for those should be talked about in conjunction with the advisor, but happy to, I am one of the faculty points of contact and am welcome to provide additional information. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. So like I introduced myself earlier, I'm Dr. Claudia Intediano Shiverdecker, and I'm part of the committee that guides the bilingual counseling certificate. So a couple of years ago, we developed the certificate, or the professors at the university developed the certificate, and I was invited to be a part of it, with the intention of providing additional training for individuals who are interested in providing services to Spanish-speaking clients. A lot of the times there's this idea that just because you speak Spanish, you are prepared to counsel in Spanish, and that's not necessarily the case. I'm a Spanish speaker, but it requires specific training to be able to transfer correctly or translate correctly the concepts of counseling in English to the Spanish-speaking culture, because it's not just language, it's culture as well, and how do we best fit their needs. And so this is sort of the intention behind the program. And so the program prepares you in terms of language competency, cultural competency, as well as skills and awareness to work with the Spanish-speaking population or the Latinx community. So there is 4 different courses, so it's a 12-hour credit program. Before that, there's one question that people always ask me, and that's if you have to have a certain level of Spanish proficiency. Yes, you do, but we also help our students. So before entering the program, you have to take a language proficiency test, and it's not a very, it's not intended to sort of, it's intended to test the level of proficiency, but for students who don't pass the test, there's a lot of things that we can do. There's a language proficiency specialist that helps the students increase their language proficiency, and that can either be through a number of activities that they have to do, or training, and sometimes they have to take an additional course, but that's not always the case. So some level of language proficiency is needed, but it doesn't have to be that you're extremely fluent with it. We made it so that it's open to a big range of students. But like I was saying before, it is a 12-credit program. You can use your electives to take our counseling certificate courses. And then the last course can be integrated into one of your internship courses, where you do your internship with Spanish-speaking clients. It is available to all students, so as well as school counselors and mental health counselors and PhD students as well. We do the advising and registration every semester. So there's opportunities to join in the fall as well as the spring. And then one significant component of the bilingual counseling certificate is the study abroad in Oaxaca, Mexico. We do this every summer. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't do it because of COVID-19. But when you go to the study abroad program, you're actually able to account for 2 of the courses. So 2 of the courses can be taken during the summer, and then you only have to do the other 2 courses to complete the certificate. And the study abroad in Oaxaca is also open to all students, not just students who are in the bilingual counseling certificate. And you can use the study abroad to account for 2 of your electives.
Great, thank you both.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had asked in the chat, here are the deadlines right now. Fall is June 15th. The spring is October 15th. So you do have until October 15th if you wanted to apply for spring. And then the summer is April 15th. One thing I will say about summer is that our program generally offers all of our core classes over the 10-week term. So sometimes I'll get applications like they're applying for the 2nd summer term. Well, that's going to be very limited because our classes are offered over the 10-week term, and they begin like they're already in session right now, our summer semester. So that's just something to keep in mind. For the doctoral program, November 1st, we do have 2 deadlines, November 1st for priority and February 1st for final. We only admit for the fall for the doctoral program, so it's only once a year. So you can get more information from the graduate school's website. This is, again, is our department website, and to apply, that will take you directly to the application link where you can get your profile started. I will be sending this PowerPoint to you in PDF, so you will have all these links available to you. just to kind of let you know, after being admitted, you will be assigned a program advisor who is a full-time faculty person, such as Dr. Anthony Shiverdecker and Dr. Lloyd Hazlitt. You will be assigned to them, but I'm also, like I said, I'm here for students. So a lot of times students will come to me with their questions, and that's perfectly fine. But you also are assigned a program advisor. There will be 2 new student orientations. One is hosted by the graduate school. They usually have theirs like on a Saturday before the semester begins. And then one hosted by the Department of Counseling. The way that we do our new student orientation is the first hour of your intro class on the first day, that is the department orientation. So if we are, we don't know what the fall is going to look like, but if we are in person for the first hour, I will be going along with other faculty members to discuss our program. If we are not in person, we will do something like this, a Zoom meeting where we will go over the department orientation via Zoom. So you don't have to worry about making a separate day for that or anything. Just go to class, first hour, it'll be done in your intro class. And then after that hour, it will be your regular intro class. So you don't have to do anything special for this one. Questions or concerns? Our graduate advisor of record for the master's program is Dr. Heather Tripp-Hall. And Dr. Barbara Herlihy is a graduate advisor of record for the PhD program. And then here is my information. If you want to send me an email, if you think of later, if you don't have any questions now, but you think later you may, please feel free to give me an email or respond to my email when I send you this information on Monday. But other than that, that is it. Does anybody have any questions? If you want to turn off your mic and ask us like that right now, you can, or just go ahead and type in the chat what questions you may have. So I went over the June 15th for fall. Can the graduate applicants request an interview during the application process? Not at the graduate level. We do not do interviews at the graduate level. That's only for the PhD.
I have one more question, if that's all right. Nobody else is going to ask one really quick. Does the program require anyone learning to be a counselor go through therapy or counseling during their time in school? Or highly encourage it?
I could field that question. I think it's an important question. Thank you, Christy. It is not a formal program requirement to participate in personal counseling, although I would say that something is a requirement is ongoing self-reflection, personal awareness, looking at ourselves and how that interfaces with our work with clients. And so for some students, they may choose to seek out personal counseling. I know that for myself during my graduate program and periods of time of life outside of that, it's been an important conjunction. And so not a formal requirement per se, but also something that some students do choose. But there is a requirement for I guess, personal and professional reflection and growth as you move through. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I didn't know if any of our students might like to maybe provide a student perspective on that question.
Hi, I'm Micah. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, I have not experienced any pressure to seek therapy as part of the training, but definitely my personal experiences in counseling and therapy have been super illuminating, and I'm able to reference that a lot when I'm going through the training. And I moved here from California to begin this program, and I think that there are some cultural differences, kind of like all my friends in California are like, oh, my therapist said this, my therapist that. Like everybody's very comfortable talking about their therapy experiences. And I feel there's a bit more resistance to that here. So I guess I'll just, in case anybody's feeling like mildly embarrassed about the fact that they may have had therapy before, personally, I think it's important if we're becoming counselors that we help to break that stigma. And I think, especially as someone who's wanting to be a counselor, it's really important that I'm keeping track of my mental health, and also it is just a great learning opportunity to seek counseling. So I'm just a big proponent of that personally. I get a lot of growth out of it. And it's like helped me learn about counseling as well.
Thank you, Micah. I did see another question in the chat box. So with internship in mind, does everyone manage to find a spot in internship? And again, I'll share maybe perspective, Dr. Interiano, Christina as well, and then student perspective I think can be helpful too. We do have a very robust approved site list and have worked hard to identify a variety of clinical training opportunities and internship sites that will offer a developmentally appropriate and supportive internship experience. Students generally are able to secure an internship site. It does require, for most internships, the integrated behavioral health certificate is a little bit different, but it does require students to be proactive in seeking out internship opportunities, and that would be something I suggest talking with your advisor once you start to get closer to your skills or practicum sequence for recommendations as far as when to start applying or best practices for that. It is not something that should be left to the last minute. And so I would say that is where a student may have difficulty securing a site, but generally we have a very robust site list.
If I can add to that, also we have a very robust site list, and to an extent, I always encourage students, just like Dr. Lloyd Haslett mentioned, to sort of look through it first, and just to see if there's something there that they like, because a lot of the times, obviously, those that are included in our list are ones that we've worked with before, and we know that students get a good experience there because it's not always the case. And so we monitor that. I'm part of the internship clinical community, and if we don't get good feedback, we typically discontinue the partnership because we don't want bad experiences for our students. And so take a look at that first, but also know that if you are interested in a site that is not included in the list, you can apply for it to be included in the list. But it takes, we are asking right now students for it to be between 6 to 90 days because it's a process. And so you can't wait for, I'm going to start internship in 2 weeks and I'm going to apply for this new site. You have to do it in time so that we're able to look at the site, see if it meets our standards, and then approve it. So just know that that option is there as well.
Thank you. And I did see one other question for now in the chat box. After hitting the invite buttons on recommendations on the application form, are they automatically sent the form?
Yes, they are. I don't think you even have to pay for your application. As soon as you invite them, they are sent that form. So yes.
Thank you. And are there other questions that we can help address? Those were the questions that were in the chat box for now, but I'm happy to answer additional questions or expand on information that has already been presented.
One thing I will add is also not just look into the kcrep.org. You also want to look into Texas's requirements for the LPC. It's a long website, but if you just Google Texas LPC board, you'll get the Department of Health and Human Services website. That is something that you're going to be doing after you graduate. So you need to be aware that just because you graduated with your master's, you don't automatically have your LPC. Right now, the board requires you have to pass what's called the NCE, which is the National Counselor Examination. You can take it while you're a student. We encourage you to get that out of the way as soon as you meet the requirements. And then there's an application that they require. You then have to accrue 3,000 hours as an intern, and that is those 3,000 hours are in addition to the 700 hours that you do for our program. So right now, the LPC board does not allow you to do that in less than 18 months. So you're looking at least 18 months after you graduate before you have your LPC. That is something that you should be aware of now. The school counseling is a little bit different. As soon as you, say for instance, you already have 2 years of teaching experience, you get your master's, you pass the school counseling exam. As soon as you graduate, you are certified. So that does work a little bit different. Somebody asked, is it comparable to like an attorney passing the bar? I mean, you do have to pass it. It is a long exam. It's an extensive exam. So I would say yes, because you do need it in order to become a counselor. But whereas the bar, you take it after you finish law school, you can take this right now. They have 8 areas where you only have to complete 6 out of those 8 to take it as a student. So you can take it as a student, and we encourage students to take advantage of that, because that's one less thing you have to worry about when you graduate, and one less thing you have, and you know, while you're a student, you're already in study mode. We encourage you to take it while you're a student.
Another thing I would add, and I have limited knowledge about the bar exam, so I'll preface with that, is another thing to keep in mind is currently licensure is state specific, and so different states will have different requirements for licensure as far as our requirements or exams that are required. And so if you are out of state or looking to go out of state, I would suggest reviewing both the Texas Licensure Board and the Licensure Board for your prospective state. A great thing I think about Texas is we do have very rigorous licensure hour requirements of the 3,000 hours. So from my experience, that can ease with some licensure portability between states, but I would encourage those who are considering going out of state or looking into that to be proactive about that as well. Going back to KCR accreditation, I think that is another important thing to educate yourself about. A KCR accredited degree is not required for all state licensure and not currently required for Texas state licensure, but can be associated with some state licensure requirements.
So we did have a question. After we graduate, does UTSA help us find that additional last internship to finish our hours, or are we going to look elsewhere? Once when you graduate, no, that is something that students are responsible for finding their own, you know, how they accrue those 3,000 hours. One thing I will say is while you are a student, we do not allow private practice to be counted as your internship hours. However, for your LPC hours, those may count. And that's something, you know, unfortunately, we're not with you in that process. So yes, students are responsible for finding their own internship while you're a student, and then when you graduate, you are responsible for finding your own place to accrue those 3,000 hours.
I wanted to add to that. That is correct. We do have, through our internship courses and some of the other coursework, including our career counseling courses, try to provide some, you know, preparation and scaffolding for that transition. Our Student Honor Society, which is Chi Sigma Iota International Counseling Honor Society. I think that's the full of it. But they offer a number of workshops and programs, both to members and non-members throughout the year. And one of those workshops that we're looking to offer again this spring, but is a internship fair, and also bringing in prospective employers. I would say UTSA is well known in the San Antonio community, and we do have a number of relationships with sites, and some students are potentially able to continue their internships that they were involved in as LPC interns. Sometimes that is not the case. So there are support options available, but that is external to your program decision.
Some advice that I've been given since I've been in the program is like that you should make relationships with other people who can help get you jobs, which I'm sure everybody in every program has heard that advice. But I think something that you'll come to appreciate about UTSA should you join the program is just like what a small community it is. Like the campus where we take all of our classes, basically like 4 buildings. Most of the classes are on the downtown campus. And it's just really pleasant how you run into people all of the time. And it actually took me like a semester to figure this out, because I have a pleasant apartment where I can do all my studying. Like, oh, if I go to the library, I see basically everyone I know, like people are just in and out. It's a pretty small community, which is really nice and makes it pretty easy to meet people and make connections with others. So that's just something I think that will also be helpful on that front.
And adding to that, I would say that, can you hear me? Yes? Okay, great. I would add to that the faculty for our program is very approachable, easy to access, and all have like your best intentions in mind. So something to keep in mind.
Awesome. Well, does anybody else have any questions? It doesn't look like it.
I just want to add something, just kind of going after Cody. I'm not saying that, I guess we're the best faculty. But in addition to that, I think really what I really want to highlight for you students, our faculty are, several of our faculty are leaders in the profession. And I think that's really important. We have the ACA president. The ACA is the Association of Counselors. American Association of Counselors, and this is the national association, and it's very it's a really unique thing for us to have in our program. Not only do we have one ACA president, our department chair, Dr. Thelma Duffy, is the past president of ACA, and then we have Dr. Barbara Herlihy, which is a leader in ethics, and I can go on and on and on in terms of all of our faculty and all the amazing things they do. And so I just want to highlight that. I think it's a very unique thing to learn from them. Even for me as a assistant professor, it's been an amazing opportunity. And so I just want to highlight that for you as well.
And I would like to add, we have amazing students as well. And so it is a very mutual process. Getting a counseling degree is not easy. You will be challenged, and so our hope is that you'll feel challenged and supported throughout the process. But I think we're excited that you are considering our program, and hope that you will consider joining us.
Yes, I will say we do have the best faculty, so I'll say it. They are very approachable, and like Cody said, they're here for you, and they're awesome to work with. So I'm very, very lucky.
And the most amazing student development specialist.
All right, well, I guess that'll wrap it up. Like I said, y'all may think of questions later. Feel free to send me an email or reply to my email on Monday when I send you this PowerPoint. Looks like, oh, okay. So thank you for joining us on Saturday. We look forward to meeting y'all in the fall.